We often think this is just a simple story of a rebellious youth, but in the ancient world, demanding an early inheritance meant wishing your father was already dead. In this reimagined telling of the legendary parable, we follow a young man named Eli. His father, Amos, represents a wealthy landowner in the rugged Judean hillside. Amos devoted his entire life to his ancestral lands. Samuel, the dutiful older brother, found deep contentment in the steady rhythms of ancient agricultural life and familial duty. However, Eli harbored a restless spirit. The quiet stability of village life stifled him. He desperately yearned for the bustling trade routes and distant, exotic Hellenistic cities. Eli approached Amos with a devastating demand. He wanted his share of the estate immediately. This shattered social norms, publicly shaming his honorable father before the entire community. Amos felt the crushing weight of public disgrace. Yet, honoring the terrible freedom of love, he silently liquidated his hard-earned assets, dividing the precious family livelihood forever. Securing his newfound wealth, Eli eagerly departed. He turned his back on the sacred covenant of his ancestors, stepping blindly into an unforgiving world of deceit and ruin. Amos stood in the fading twilight. He watched his beloved son vanish along the dusty caravan road, his broken heart carrying an impossible mixture of profound grief and hope. Eli plunged into a vibrant metropolis. He eagerly traded his father's righteous legacy for the blinding allure of foreign markets, endless banquets, and wealthy, opportunistic companions. He felt absolutely invincible among his new friends. His heavy coin purse commanded immense respect, but every lavish feast pushed him closer to the edge of absolute ruin. The intoxicating illusion of freedom consumed him entirely. Ancient wisdom was quickly forgotten as he chased fleeting pleasures, ignoring the inevitable collapse of his rapidly shrinking fortune. Soon, a severe famine struck the land, and Eli's money vanished completely. The glittering city suddenly turned bitterly cold, and his fair-weather friends abandoned him to starvation. Stripped of his dignity, he accepted the most degrading job imaginable. He fed pigs, an act of absolute horror and ritual impurity for any self-respecting young man. Surrounded by filth, the crushing reality of his choices finally broke him. Even the unclean animals ate better than he did in this desolate, God-forsaken foreign wasteland. In the depths of his agonizing despair, a sudden memory pierced his darkness. He remembered the hired laborers at his father's estate, who always had abundant fresh bread. He resolved to return, not as a son, but as a lowly servant. He would face the humiliation of the village and beg for his father's mercy. Amos never stopped scanning the horizon. One evening, he spotted a ragged silhouette shuffling down the road. Against all ancient customs, the dignified patriarch began to run. Tucking his robes into his belt, Amos sprinted through the village to shield Eli from the community's judgment. He threw his arms around his weeping boy. Eli sobbed against his father's chest. He confessed his terrible sins against heaven and his family, declaring himself entirely unworthy to ever bear the name again. Amos ignored the desperate apology. He instantly commanded his servants to fetch the finest robe, sandals, and the family signet ring, fully restoring Eli's lost authority. The servants quickly slaughtered the fatted calf, a rare delicacy reserved only for the most significant community events. The grand celebration of redemption had finally begun. Joyous music echoed across the ancient courtyard as the lavish banquet commenced. Eli's shameful past was entirely erased, completely swallowed by his father's unimaginable and scandalous grace. Meanwhile, Samuel returned from the exhausting fields. He heard the rhythmic drumming and joyful dancing. Confused, he summoned a servant to explain the unexpected and loud commotion. The servant excitedly revealed that his younger brother had finally come home safely. Their relieved father had slaughtered the prized calf to celebrate this miraculous, impossible return. Furious indignation consumed Samuel. Under the strict ancient honor code, his brother deserved severe punishment, not a lavish banquet. He angrily refused to enter the joyful house. Once again, The loving father broke ancient social protocols. He humbled himself, leaving the honorable seats of the grand feast to publicly plead with his eldest son. Samuel unleashed his bitter resentment. He had served flawlessly, like a slave for years, never breaking a single rule, yet he never received even a young goat. He furiously pointed out the gross injustice. This reckless son had devoured the family wealth among foreigners, yet he was now being treated like returning foreign royalty. Amos looked at Samuel with deep, unwavering affection. He gently reminded his eldest son that they were always together, and the entire remaining inheritance already belonged to him. However, Amos pleaded, they absolutely had to celebrate. This broken younger brother was essentially dead to the world, but against all odds, he was finally alive again. Sitting quietly amidst the joyful celebration, Eli felt a profound, overwhelming gratitude. He had desperately chased hollow illusions, only to discover true treasure in his father's house. As this ancient parable concludes, the deeper spiritual reality becomes beautifully clear. This is an eternal picture of divine mercy, shattering our strict human rules of karma. No matter how far we wander into the wilderness of our own destructive choices, the Creator waits with open arms, ready to heal our most shattered pieces. His boundless love never wavers. We are reminded that absolute redemption is always possible. All we must do is swallow our pride and simply turn back home.